Hello, and welcome to this. I have no idea what episode this is.
You said 20 something.
It's definitely in the 20s, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 30s?
No.
40s? No. 50s even.
It's episode 21.
Ooh, episode 21. Episodes already.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hello, and welcome to episode 21 of the Nethergreen podcast. And it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
As usual, we're joined by, two regular hosts.
It's true. We are the regulars, and we're here to serve you.
Yes.
And my name is Josh Phipps, for anybody who was wondering.
We've got Josh Phipps, who's actually the main character in my short film, The Broken Canvas.
Yep.
How are you today, Josh?
Since the canvas broke, I've been a little bit up and down. All over the place.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, as you should be. You're the one that fucking broke it. But you know what?
I ruined your life.
You did ruin my life. This guy wished everybody a Merry Christmas except for me.
you.
He tagged me in fucking Facebook posts nonstop almost for about 2 years.
Not on my account though. On Hector's account.
No, of course, on Hector's account, and that actually drove me to a point in my life where I contemplated, is this life even worth living? But here I am today. We're on the podcast, and I'm feeling good.
Okay,
So,
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
We also have our other regular co-host, Hector.
Me, hello.
It's Hector. Now he might not talk that much this episode because apparently he's lost his energy. He's lost his energy.
Yeah,
but I'll still be here, with
spirit.
everyone, in spirit.
He'll
I'll
always
just
be
not have
here.
the same kind of pizzazz.
I want to let the audience know, and this is a first for the Nevergreen podcast. I'm slightly drunk. I'll be honest with you, audience. I've done a lot of episodes high. I did a lot of episodes smoking a ton of weed, but this is the first one on alcohol.
As we all have.
As we all have. Yeah.
I mean, it's similar, isn't it?
No.
Well,
No.
You're just intoxicated. Aren't you?
no, it's completely different.
It's so different.
What are you talking about? Dude, you have been high. You've been drunk.
I know.
You should know at this point the difference between being high and being
There's a
drunk.
reason I preferred being high to being drunk.
Everybody
There's a
prefers
huge
being
difference.
high to being drunk.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I'd say either way, you're just intoxicated mildly.
So you mean to tell me at the same time that the intoxication you get from, I don't know, a substance like fucking cocaine is the same as the intoxication you get from the substance of like...
Well, no, because that's an upper, whereas both weed and alcohol are downers, so they're slightly
Depends
similar.
on
Weed
what
isn't
type of weed you're
always a
smoking.
downer. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
depends
is.
if you're
Weed
smoking...
can totally be an
Are you
upper.
smoking sativa or are you smoking indica? Because
I mean, both of them are pretty, relatively down.
You're-
No, that just
You are
shows how much
incorrect.
you know about smoking weed.
Yeah.
I mean, if
Pussy.
you smoked loads.
You don't know shit.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
smoked loads.
Yeah, did you ever once ask me what is the difference between sativa and
I
indica?
know
No,
what
of course
the
you
difference
didn't.
is.
Clearly
What
you
is a
don't.
sativa then?
Well, the difference is one is supposed to give you like a buzz and make you feel energized.
In
and
other
give you,
words, an
like,
upper.
A heady high.
An
But
upper.
I always thought, well, that's just fucking it's like apples and oranges. What fucking
Yeah, well,
difference does it make?
That's,
Just
you-
that's
high and
why can't
dopey.
fruit be compared?
Yeah. You have a weird reaction to drugs anyway. This
But-
man hates acid but loves mushrooms.
I don't hate acid. I just prefer mushrooms. I
Really?
mean, mushrooms you
Who's the person that's never had a good trip on acid out of all three of us?
Yeah, but
It's
then
that
also
boy.
I realised that every time I've had a bad one was because it was during night time. I've realised maybe if I tried acid during the daytime, as we did doing mushrooms, then maybe it would be different.
I just want to confirm quickly that you are recording on that.
Yeah.
Because if the entire audio is from this, you two will not be heard well.
No.
No, I mean it's here. I can see it. I can see it.
Okay,
Going.
good.
But since all of those times long past, I'm doing well. I'm pretty much sober except for alcohol.
Yeah.
Bradley's the same.
Yeah, I haven't smoked in... It's October now.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
My
it's been-
last smoke was in March.
Yeah. That's good, man.
April,
That's
May,
really
June,
good.
July, August, September. It's over 6 months.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me, it's been a little bit shorter than that, but at the same time, I've spaced mine out quite evenly. There's been some ups
Oh,
and
no,
downs.
no, it was May. They both came, it was May.
Yeah. I
So
did-
June, July,
yeah,
August,
I thought it was a
September.
little bit shorter than
Yeah,
March.
alright.
I
Almost.
haven't smoked in about
almost
2
5
years.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man. All right.
Yeah,
Get it.
yeah,
You get,
yeah.
You're
Bragging about 6
Yeah.
months. I ain't smoked in 2 years.
Yeah, well, I smoked 4-4.
Yeah,
So, you know.
I smoked since I was 15, and I'm
Oh,
22 now, so.
Yeah. He's old. He's an old man.
I'm getting up there, man.
We just watched a great movie.
We did.
We did.
And it's actually a testimony to
To filmmaking.
filmmaking, to be honest. Do you want to what was it called again, Bradley?
It's called 2005's Double Down.
By
Neil Breen.
Neil Breen.
Neil Breen, the Mean Machine.
Mean Machine, the dramatic artist of film, the master of acting,
The
master
modern day Tommy Wiseau.
of film production, editing, location design, sound design,
Catering.
casting, literally all of these things you can check the credits he did himself.
Yeah, and that's
So-
just for the first film. I bet the more films we watch of his, because he has got more, we're going to see a lot more of his name in the credits.
most definitely.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It was amazing.
No, it was
It was the worst film
it
I've
was-
ever seen.
It
Dog
might have
shit.
been the best film I've ever seen.
I don't know, man. I've seen.
No,
Like-
obviously if I was to rate it as an actual movie, it's awful.
Of course.
But honestly, that was one of the best bad movies I've ever watched.
I don't even think I'd say that. I think The Amazing Bulk funnier. Tommy Wiseau's stuff more enjoyable.
Well, you can't
This
beat
one-
The Room.
This one was
No.
just so shit. It was just shit, and I was just like cringing the whole way through. So much stuff didn't make sense.
I
Just,
will
like-
say, so for the audience, we made a drinking game out of it.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, I can definitely say that made it better.
Uh,
I think watching this sober would be quite the
Yeah,
experience.
as a testimony, we're all pretty waved, so it's like,
Yeah.
it had to have been a good drinking game. Therefore, it had to have been a really awful movie for us to be.
And he has at
on this
least
level.
4 films. He's probably got another one out there that I haven't heard of. I'll even check. Where's my phone?
Ideally, we should have gotten through all 4 of these movies and then made the podcast, because that
Yes.
would have been.
Instead,
pretty funny.
we'll do an episode for each.
For each. Oh god. I mean, I will say I got more genuine laughs out of Morbius, just because Morbius was like,
He
You know.
does have a 5th film.
he has a 5th film.
Yes.
Is
So
it-
he has made a film in 2005, 2009, 2013, 2016, 2018, and technically one in 2020. But it's not a real film.
What does that mean?
Alright, so if this is a real film,
Is it a short film?
it's 5 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh,
What?
Right, okay, so it's 5 hours 40 minutes are just comprised of stock footage. So it doesn't
No,
count as
no,
a real
no.
movie.
So it's him talking about how he made the other 5 films.
Right.
It's
Because
just
we
a
couldn't.
commentary track.
Yeah, we couldn't tell.
No, it's
how-
not a commentary track. It's a retrospective.
We couldn't tell how he made the other 5 films. We couldn't.
There's so much
guess,
mystery.
guess to ourselves. Oh, this is probably how he did all of this. No. Of course, he had to make a film about his genius and how he made them.
A 5 hour 40 minute film. That means he talked about each film for at least an hour.
So I think what we should do is, one of these times after we've finished watching all of these films, is that we should watch this commentary for 5 hours.
Actually, you know what, to be fair,
No.
to give him fairness, I actually think that's reasonable. Being able to talk about each movie for about an hour, or just over an hour. To be fair, that is reasonable. What movie could you make that you wouldn't be able to spend an hour talking about it?
Well, that's the idea
There
of the
would be
commentary
some-
track.
There'd be something to
The
talk
idea of the
about.
commentary track is to, speak about how you made, from the director's commentary track, to speak about how you made the movie throughout the movie.
If it was 5 hours about one of the movies, now that would be insane.
That would be.
That
Then
would
again,
be
there are
too much.
there are
He
video
definitely
essays
edited-
there are video
edited
essays
it.
on YouTube that are that long for movies.
Yeah, but that people do 5-hour videos on anything.
Like the YouTuber Mauler did a 5-hour video on Doctor Strange 2. I made it through 2 hours. Here's the thing with that video. God, he loves to repeat himself. He really does.
As most commentary tracks do.
Yeah.
So
It's not a commentary track, it's a video essay.
What was that one about Doctor Who that was like a ridiculous amount of time? Like
Oh, what, the
6
one?
hours.
Yeah. That's J. Exley's The Fall of Doctor Who.
Was that for one episode, or was that for
No,
like
for
a
all.
series?
That's for
of
Jodie
the
Whittaker's
entire-
era.
Oh, just for Jodie Whittaker.
Just for Jodie Whittaker.
Oh, it's
yeah.
just
Wait,
Jodie
6
Whittaker?
hours
Yeah, it was
for
just
just
Jodie
Jodie
Whittaker.
Whittaker.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit too much time to waste on Jodie Whittaker, not gonna lie.
Well, as an actress, I'd disagree. But
There's lots to talk
Well,
about.
no, as an actress, sure, you do you, but at the same time, as a work of script, as a work of film, 6 hours, nah, wouldn't waste that much time in my life.
I don't know. I mean, Doctor Who's getting off into a different track. As the audience will know, as you two will know, I could talk for hours about Doctor
Of
Who.
course you could, but
I could easily talk for 6 hours about
This is
Doctor
Neil
Who.
If we're-
Breen.
this is Neil Breen.
This is
we're
the
talking
Neil
about.
Breen
If we're talking
episode.
about, you know,
This is the Double Down episode.
double down. If we're talking about the pure erraticism, the pure fucking spontaneity, the randomness of Neil Breen, there's just so many questions. And this was the thing. This is why I would put Morbius, right? Which everybody knows my thoughts on Morbius. I would put Morbius higher than Neil Breen's Double
Easily.
Down.
Easily, like,
yeah,
way above.
of course, because
Yeah.
I got more genuine laughs out of
Yeah.
Morbius than I did out of the majority of the hilarity of Double Down was just the fact that I kept asking why, what is it? How?
To be fair, though, they
How?
are very different films, and not
Yeah,
just
of
in
course,
not in just terms of like the story elements. I
Also,
just
that
mean
was
like,
2005
versus
and
2022.
but I mean the fact that like Morbius is so funny because it's like it's supposed to be a blockbuster studio film.
Yeah, but it's just a meme.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
entire thing's
Well,
a meme.
fucking Double Down is, that's an independent film.
What is?
What do you think the budget for Double Down?
Why don't we go into IMDb? IMDb it.
I'll check
but
it.
if you were to guess,
Okay.
how do you think it is?
As a guess, I'm gonna guess.
100,000. I'm gonna say.
Really, you're gonna go that high?
Here you go, 100,000. yeah.
I was
would
gonna go
say-
for like 20,000.
I
Really?
would say.
Actually, yeah, all of the cast was.
I would
really
say
dodgy.
70,000, if that.
Okay, so we got
70,000,
20,000, 70,000, and
yeah.
100,000. I will check.
And if
the
it's any
results.
more than 100,000, it was a money laundering scheme, and we all know it. That's that's as far as you can get with it. But okay, so as far as like films go, 2005, right? I actually think that 2005, the early 2000s, were a great year for film. You actually had like a lot of really good stuff coming out then, with even like really good CGI and everything like this. Great storylines. I mean, fucking the Batman Begins was made in 2005. First Batman blockbuster.
I mean,
film.
Spider-Man 2 is 2004.
Yeah, well, close enough, So
Yeah.
it's like these films are being made 2005. This is the standard of quality of production that's being made in 2005, and then you get Double Down, right? Shot on 100% 35mm film, which must have cost them a fortune, even in 2005. It's even more expensive nowadays, but 35mm film, 2005.
So I couldn't find it on IMDb, so I googled it.
Yeah.
And apparently, Neil Breen has never disclosed how much he spent on any of his films.
So we can all agree it was probably a money laundering scheme. And
Okay, so when I found that out, I did an extra bit of googling. So, I believe it had to have been more than 20,000.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Smith shot the film Clerks, which is black and white and looks visually worse than this, for 20,000. So it had to have been more money than Clerks, in my opinion.
Plus, again, shot on 35mm film. 35mm film back when Tommy
Also,
Wiseau shot it.
Neil is now 63.
Holy shit, man. Wow. So to put it into perspective, Tommy Wiseau shot The Room on digital HD and
And
35mm film. And he spent millions of dollars on that. It would have probably cost
Yeah,
him
but he had
More
loads
locations
of
and
shooting
loads of
days
cameras.
and loads
Yeah.
of locations.
way
yeah.
more actors.
At the same time, though, 35mm film. Nowadays, fucking, you can't do it without a big budget film. Like, it really can't be done. So, even in 2005, it was still exponentially expensive to shoot on 35mm film.
Yeah.
So, how much, right? Tommy Wiseau, The Room, spent millions
Yeah.
to make The Room on 35mm and HD. So, how much did Neil Breen
I
spend...
refuse to believe it's millions.
See, I feel like if
Well, he won't disclose it, so...
If he won't disclose it, I
refuse.
feel like that's probably because he's ashamed at how cheap they did it for.
Or,
I would imagine so.
It was shot on Fuji.
He seems like quite like a prideful guy that thinks he's the coolest, most awesome man in the world, so he doesn't want anyone to know how to...
Well,
So-
no, that's just his character.
No,
Yeah.
come on, let's be real. That's him in person.
The way that we saw him, bumbling about the desert, I refuse to believe that he thinks he's cool, because that's not the movements of somebody who thinks. But
only one type of man could make a movie that is the star actor is him. It's produced by him, directed by him, and casted by him, written by him.
Yeah, Tommy
It's
Wiseau.
all over the.
He did
all
the
over
catering.
Tommy Wiseau.
So he has to just
Millionaire.
think he's the most awesome man in the whole world. I'm the only man.
I just think he if you shot it all on 35mm, and we're not just talking about Kodak, by the way, we're talking about Fujifilm.
Yeah.
And Fujifilm is a step above Kodak. Fujifilm, like a Fuji camera, a Fujinon film camera, medium format especially, they were more expensive than Kodak all the time, always. So it not only was a 35mm, it was 35mm Fujifilm, which I would say is a little bit more expensive than your regular 35mm Kodak. So.
Okay, just for the audience's sake. So I don't think we can explain the plot of Double Down, but I
honestly, the review that you gave of the plot, I don't even know if that was actually what the plot was supposed to be, because I didn't actually even know.
I can reiterate it.
You can, but I just searched on Reddit, and someone did ask, can someone explain the plot of this movie? And I just want to give this comment that someone replied. So, according to Redditor Tickstart, this is the plot of Double Down, and afterwards Daniel can correct where he could be wrong. The best undercover soldier agent spy the government has ever had has his fiancée murdered, because that's how you get to somebody and crush their spirit. However, Neil has got the world by the balls, because he invented half the systems. The secret systems, and her satellites, parabolas, force fields, and tuner. He is hired by governments all over the world to do things, and he is a philanthropist, giving millions of dollars to orphanages.
Oh yeah.
He also sells and produces biological weapons. He can do anything from his brilliant setup. He is about to attack the Las Vegas Strip, but he has a change of heart though, because he loves his country. It's his country. He then has a lecture about how dangerous chemical weapons are, and how nuclear weapons are nothing. And then he smears anthrax on a guy's forearm. Questions? Where was he wrong?
So he wasn't really wrong, right? But the way I see it, and this is just based off my very limited recollection of the film, because I think I blocked most of it out. Right, so it's a guy in a car.
It's the only way you can survive.
It's a guy in a Mercedes specifically, right? And he's wandering about the desert in a fever dream.
And a Ferrari at one point.
And a Ferrari at one point. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. Right, with some laptops that aren't turned on and a satellite dish that's poking out the back of his Mercedes.
At least two satellite dishes.
At least two satellite dishes, right? And which he looks back and forth.
And I think it was 5 laptops.
5 laptops, yes, that weren't turned on at all.
Never. Never in the entire
that
film.
Might be dead, might be not.
And might be a porn star.
Might be a porn star, but most likely a porn star. He has a connection with his, younger self that might also just be some random child that he's abducted.
As well as her younger self.
As well as her younger self, which is another child that he's abducted. There is a mystical rock, which is obviously fool's gold, which you can buy at any souvenir shop for about $3.99 an ounce.
He cures the little girl's brain cancer. But not the same little girl. This is a different little girl.
No, this is a different little girl, who is never mentioned again.
Yeah, her and her family are never mentioned again.
No, it's just, it is what it is. And he spends his time, planning on a way to destroy the Las Vegas Strip. which he does, might I add, as we see through the collection of stock footage of Las Vegas burning,
of forest fires.
I
think 9/11 might be thrown in there.
9/11's thrown in there. And, which he's done. He has done this because he smeared the anthrax on the guy.
But at the same time, he was stopping
But
it.
he also had a change of heart at the same time and said, yes, I'm going to stop this terrorist attack. Which wasn't me at all. No, definitely not. Which, it was.
And he went to a senator and the head of Secret Service.
He calls the senator, Secret Service, FBI, CIA, and he says, and they're all like, code orange, and then one of them's like, no, fuck that. This is code red right here.
We need to evacuate the hotel strip.
The hotels, no, not just Las Vegas. He just says, we need to evacuate the hotels, the hotel strip. Nothing else in Las Vegas, just the hotels. And yeah, that's basically the plot of the movie until something happens.
How did it end?
There's a homeless guy in a cave, which is the same cave that we've seen.
Might be a terrorist.
Because
Neil does point out.
He does say,
terrorist.
now this guy definitely looks like a terrorist. At which point, he kills the guy.
No,
but he's not dead.
The guy smashes his head on a rock.
No, he smashes his head on a rock, but then he's alive later on.
Yeah.
And he comes back and,
to give him the rock.
And and Neil Breen is like, well, I've learned my lesson. I'm gonna drive off into the.
What is my motivation?
Where are you?
Where are you? This is my country. I love my country.
And as he, smashes his laptop to pieces, I suppose that somewhere along the way he learned the lesson that, maybe you shouldn't. Assassinate
an anthrax bomb.
Somewhere along the way, he learns that a bag of flour containing anthrax, releasing that onto the population might not be such a good idea. So he goes to
because he loves his country.
He does love his country. So
he's won every medal.
Every medal on his denim jacket.
He could drop an EMP bomb on any city at any time.
His double denim outfit, wearing his Purple Heart, all of this fucking shit, and he calls up the senators and he's like, hey, look, buddy, I'm gonna stop a major terrorist threat that I created.
I'm a terrorist.
which he did by fucking releasing the anthrax on.
He just rubbed it on some fucking guy's
some
arm.
random guy.
And he was like, "They never see me coming.
They never even hear. I'm gonna. Let me just rub this down real quick. They didn't even see me coming. I said as I rubbed it all over him.
I'm so sneaky.
And he decides that somewhere along the way this probably isn't the best idea, so he smashes all 5 of his laptops. As he continues on this bad fever.
He unscrews his satellite dishes.
He kept doing that. He got a wrench and he kept unwrenching where
Nothing.
there wasn't anything to wrench on the satellite. There were no bolts on it at all. But he was just using his wrench
while also running up and down the same exact hill probably about 10 times.
And he'd whip out his laptop and be typing on the laptop, looking at the satellite.
Looking at the satellite because obviously because of his supersonic vision, which he established in the beginning. That he has.
He has bionic eyes.
He wasn't doing anything.
No, he never reestablishes why he has his supersonic vision. Or
what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when the Doctor, the 11th Doctor specifically, would sonic something and then look at the sonic, even though there's clearly no split.
There's nothing there. He can't see the radio waves coming out of the fucking sonic.
No, but that's the thing. With
dish.
the Doctor, you can at least be like, maybe he's got a psychic connection. With Neil Breen, what the fuck is he doing?
The Doctor. All we know about Neil Breen is that apparently at some point in the beginning of the film he got some nice vision implants or something, which help him see things.
He helped save the victims of Katrina and
Katrina.
He threw that in random
there.
Stuff for the character all the time. It was so annoying. He just randomly say things like, "I've got connections with presidents everywhere. I could start and end wars."
In order to understand, you need to get into the headspace of this character. This character of Neil Breen, or
Aaron
Aaron, whatever the fuck his name was.
I think it's Aaron Ben. I'll check.
So, to get into the headspace of Aaron, you need to understand post 9/11 America.
Oh,
and to understand Aaron Brand. And in order to understand Aaron Brand, you need to understand post 9/11 America, where he comes across a random old guy with a beard and fucking Namada. He's like, well, this guy looks like a terrorist to me. And then obviously he kills him. because he looks like a terrorist.
Also, how did he look like a terrorist? He was a white
Because of the
old
beard.
man.
He had a beard.
Because of the beard.
He had a beard.
Because
He
of
was
the
a
long
white-
bushy beard.
he was a
that looked
white
like an
old man.
Osama
Hey
bin
man,
Laden
don't be
beard.
racist.
Yeah, man.
Okay, actually, that's racist.
Neil Breen wasn't racist.
You know, he also had his guy that looked like George Bush. But in order to understand Aaron Brand, you need to understand, post 9/11 America, where...
Which is the
you
funniest sentence I've ever heard.
Which is, it's true though, because, you see the planes flying all the time. He's like, I just saved, this could be a worse disaster than 9/11.
Yeah, that CIA agent actually said that. It was like, this could be worse than 9/11.
I saved the victims of Hurricane Katrina. And, 2005, Hurricane Katrina was happening, 2005, 9/11, 4 years later. So, and obviously in that version of America, people are a little bit, iffy about anybody that looks like a terrorist, and also hurricanes. They're iffy about the hurricanes too.
Here's my genuine question about this movie. Neil Breen, complete genius, can hack any satellite in the world, has supervision. Surely he, the character, Aaron Brand, surely he could have stopped 9/11. I'm choosing to believe he decided not to.
Well, the way that this movie is portraying him as the guy that also orchestrated the terrorist attack, but then pretended to stop it, is actually behind.
Oh my
is actually
god!
behind 9/11 himself.
He did say that he could start or end any war.
He did.
So
He started the war on terror.
Yeah, exactly. You think about Iraq, you think about Afghanistan, the oil crisis, all of these things, and
They're
then you
all
think,
him.
who would have the governments have turned to in this reality?
Aaron
Obviously, Aaron Brand, because he can stop and start
He's
wars.
won every medal.
He's won every
He has
medal.
been awarded
All
every
8
medal.
of
He has
them.
bioweapons in every major city, killing. He could kill hundreds of thousands of people. on
They will
command.
never see him coming.
No, of course not. This is the man that can walk up to any average human being, rub them up and down like
Oh god.
With obvious
Anthrax.
powder.
with anthrax that's obviously flour.
He will die within 5 minutes.
He walks away. They will die within 5 minutes as he gets into his Mercedes. But then it's a Porsche. He rents a Porsche for some reason.
How
And a
did none of
Ferrari.
them affect him? Because at one point he's with the CIA agents and the bag breaks and he's like, "You guys, it broke.
And
Run!"
something goes
Well,
on.
I did think about that as well, because they had this weird Mexican standoff thing where they're all standing, 2 inches apart,
Holding machine.
holding machine guns, and it's supposed to be a dramatic standoff. But then somebody drops the flour bag of anthrax.
No, I think
And
it's him. I think it's Aaron.
It is, and he's
It's
like,
Neil.
"Oh, they dropped it! Oh, let's run away!" And
Run.
then the other 2 bad guys run away, and then he's
CIA
like, "Hey,
agents,
look,
yeah.
I did it! I got the bag of anthrax."
Yeah, then he calls someone up being like, "I got the package."
I really did not understand the plot at all, because at some points it seemed like he was using the anthrax as a way to bust people who were trying to get it from him to use it for terrorists. Because he did like a bust. We busted them.
Yeah,
And
he
then,
did say that.
So I don't understand how he then used that same package of anthrax to give to someone else and
Who was the man in black?
death.
Well, that is, but then again, it could have also have been, Adam, whatever the fuck his name is, or
It was the Green Reaper himself.
Yeah. Honestly,
Aaron
it wouldn't
Brand.
surprise me because there were so
Aaron
many
Brand,
references to his girlfriend that was dead. But, he
no,
kept
but she
seeing her.
wasn't dead though.
Or she was.
there
Or
was
she
there
was.
We
a
saw her
skeleton.
die, and then they
No,
laid
all we
together in
know-
the pool.
All we know is that we saw a skeleton.
A
We
bleach
saw
white
a
skeleton.
porn star get shot. Apparently,
Yeah.
there was no bullet wound.
Who was
There
that other
nothing.
woman in the car?
There was a woman, and then at the end of the movie, there's just this random woman in the car who we can only assume
It's
is supposed
supposed to be,
is
yeah.
supposed to be the girlfriend, but is in fact a completely different actress of a completely
At the
different
end of the
age.
movie, yeah, they just
And-
bring in a whole new actress. Like, oh yes, this is her.
Oh yes, my wife.
Yes, I love you, dear.
And
Ryan
all the
Reynolds
while
is so
watching
close.
this, it just seems like this is like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is the dream that Hunter S. Thompson had while tripping on acid and fucking whatever God knows else.
Oh, you know what? I've not. I mean, you told me that I've seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas
You
a
have.
couple of times actually.
You have.
You've
yes.
seen it twice. Yeah.
I have zero recollection of it.
Okay, so the first time you ever saw Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas was when we were in Bournemouth together. We watched it with Laura. All 3 of us tripping on acid completely, like a high dose of acid.
Yeah,
2.5
it was-
2 taps. I
yeah.
imagine.
The only thing I remember from that night was Spider-Man.
All I remember was that we were all tripping on acid, and we watched that movie, and it's a great movie. It should only be watched when you're tripping on acid.
But then when did we watch it? Because I remember watching it with you.
DMT.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I have literally zero recollection.
Basically, just Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro on
Tobey
acid.
Maguire's in it?
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah,
Okay.
he's in it for a couple scenes. Just tripping on acid for basically 2 hours. And it's great. It's a wonderful movie. It's based on real events.
If you can tell me if there's a right place to do it, I want to take Double Down and insert it into Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
You probably easily could, because it's like it would be the fever dream of what Hunter S.
So if there's an
Thompson was
easy cut
seeing.
I can make, I want to put this entire 90-minute movie.
Scenes of him going through Las Vegas and him
No,
going
the
through
entire movie.
Mojave Desert.
The entire movie.
They splice the two together. It would be a fever trip, a fever dream of a movie.
Honestly, it probably wouldn't change much because of how much random shit is inserted.
It would change a lot of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it wouldn't change much of this.
It would.
Yeah.
It would be indistinguishable. You'd be like, oh, there's just a bunch more of
Oh,
random...
Johnny Depp's in this.
Oh my god, what's going on?
Whoa! The budget of
I
this
still
just
don't know
increased.
what's happening. Wow.
Also, so the version we watched of this was in 480p.
Yeah.
If it was 35mm though, how was
Yeah.
the quality so bad? Did he make it bad to fit the stock footage?
No, if it was shot in 35mm film, it would have been 4:3.
No. I mean, like the actual quality. Like it was 480p.
Yeah, which is 4:3.
Well, no, because you can get high quality 4x3.
Yeah, of course you can, but it is filmed in higher quality and then made into 4:3.
Oh right, yeah, bad transfer. I see.
Yeah. So in order to get the quality that we saw in this, it was shot in 4:3 and produced in 4:3, released in 4:3. So it's like, it was just bad.
Yeah.
It was just bad quality. It's like, obviously, if it's a stylistic choice, The Lighthouse, 16mm,
Justice League,
which is basically 4:3, but just a little bit different.
It's probably a budget.
That's in 4:3. Well, obviously, Lighthouse had a bigger budget and it was better.
Although that wasn't 4x3.
No, it wasn't. It was.
Do you think it was cropped then?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, which is another reason why the quality was awful.
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
if you fucking crop into 4:3, you're not gonna get great quality out of that. You're gonna get.
Let's talk about the scene where his wife dies, and
Which one?
The one where in the pool.
One of
the first.
She's
ones,
like,
Yeah, and he's completely naked, and she's in just a thong.
That was fucking hilarious because she was lying there like that, face
And
down.
then
he was there with her.
Him lying there in
So
the same position.
we have this theory that he was dead throughout the entire movie. This is just his last moments.
Headcanon.
But also at the same time, on the production wise of this, I just can't help but imagine. Right? I just think of the actresses throughout this entire film. I keep picturing every single one of these actresses.
They all look so
and I'm like, these are all very attractive women. Right? And they all look very uncomfortable throughout the entire film.
Here's what would make sense if he was dead the entire time. If he was dead, I reckon the actual Aaron Brand was a nobody. Complete zero. And then in his moments of death...
He was a desert walker.
in his moments of death, he was like, I wish I was the best man in the world. I wish I'd won every award.
I was the genius. I was the man
I
that
could
governments
end
turned
and
to.
start any war.
But obviously, that's just speculation. But then we think about it through the terms of production wise, right? And you look at the actresses involved in this. The actors, absolute nobodies who can't act for anything. But the actresses, for instance, also can't act for anything. But one thing that we can notice about them is that they're all, how would you say, attractive by conventional standards. So
they all had breasts.
They all had,
There was not a single flat-chested actress in this entire
You know,
production.
and all of them had a very certain quality that made them look like porn stars. So all I can wonder is, you went to Las Vegas and you decided to film something. So you decided to pick up a bunch of hookers off the side of the street and said,
"Oh my god,
we're
what
going to
if
film a movie?"
What if that was it? What if that was why they were all
No.
uncomfortable? What if it was they weren't porn stars?
They were
actually all just hookers and
I
they were
doubt-
uncomfortable on camera.
I refuse to believe the wife was, because that would mean he was like, hey, not only do I want to invite you to shoot this film with me, but I want to take you into the middle of the desert to film it.
And you really don't believe that could have happened?
I genuinely believe that could have
I think
happened.
she would have thought she was in danger, and she would have called the police.
And then I think about it's Las Vegas and they're hookers, so I
Worst
think
things
however
probably
much they
Yeah,
were
but they're
paid,
not-
which
they're
was probably thousands of dollars, they were probably fine with it.
They're not
Because-
suicide hookers.
No, of course not. But a guy shows up with a fucking, nice camera and, a whole film production crew, which apparently they have.
This isn't just a guy. This
No.
is Neil Breen.
Neil Breen, and he shows up with a camera. They're probably used to doing a couple of pornos here and there. That's probably fine. It's 2005.
They were probably like, well, you don't want me naked?
Yeah, no. And he's just like, no. Well, maybe for 1 or 2 scenes. I'll be naked at
I
least.
just
Yeah.
want you to kiss
Right.
me.
Yeah, and the kisses, which were the most uncomfortable, like literally, like the room. We talk about the room.
Yeah.
The room
God.
had more comfortable making love scenes and kissing scenes than this did. So
did.
this is what leads me to believe that this entire film, like all the females were just, they didn't know what was going on.
See,
It
I
was
actually
just-
believe that they have to, because if they were porn stars, I feel like they would have been better.
They
on
would have been
camera.
more comfortable.
more comfortable.
So
They-
I feel like
and
these
it-
are
but it would have been cheaper for them to just pick up random
hookers
in
off
Las
in Las Vegas. Because
Alright,
that's
alright.
the point of Las Vegas.
I'll tell you what, I'll check the IMDb quick. I'll find out who plays his wife, and I'll see if she's ever been in anything else.
I will guarantee you that she's probably been in maybe 2 other films. And they're probably both
I'm
directed
going
by
to
Neil
call it
Breen.
and say she has been in nothing else.
Does anyone know what her character's name could have been?
No, there's no...
Okay, I think I found it. I mean, there's a character called Bride. Would she be Bride?
No, the bride was the woman who was pretended to be
Oh,
shot.
you are
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Who would she be?
She would be Allen's...
I see someone called Megan. Is it possible she was a Megan?
She looked like she could have been a Megan.
Why would none of the characters ever refer
Okay.
to by their names?
Okay. If she was Megan, then this would indeed be the only film she's ever been in.
How interesting that might be. How interesting.
Okay.
What did we say? What did we say? He picked up a bunch of hookers and he starred them in his movie.
Because-
Okay, the Bride has been in 2 films.
Both directed by Neil Breen.
No,
No?
but the other one also looks terrible.
Okay. So, you have the bride, who was obviously one of the women who he accidentally assassinated or purposefully assassinated. made
Or
look like a
didn't, because
suicide.
again, she didn't know she was alive.
She could have suicided herself, maybe in the middle of the head
Yeah.
with a shotgun. But I would almost certainly say, without almost a shadow of a doubt, that his wife was played by a very uncomfortable hooker who didn't feel comfortable getting completely naked because they weren't paying her enough.
I've found an argument towards
Yeah?
this. I've just looked through, and almost every single actor in this film has only appeared in this film, including all the
I
males.
honestly think he just picked up a bunch of random people in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
because, dude, okay, so imagine this, right? You're back in 2005, digital film is becoming big,
Oh, I hate to
blockbusters are
imagine
becoming
that.
big, action films, the whole, movie scene is becoming big. And you're in Las Vegas, you're on vacation, you're walking around, you're enjoying the strip.
God, I wish you could see Hector.
You're maybe picking up a couple of hookers, and then this guy drives by, and he's in a Mercedes. Granted, it's a few years old, but he's got a camera crew, and he says, "Hey, wouldn't you like to be the next big star of Hollywood?" And you say,
Hell yeah.
"Of course you do, because you're just a random guy on
I'm
strip
just a
in Las
random
Vegas."
guy. I want to be a superstar.
Of course. So you get in the car in the Mercedes, right, and then he keeps driving. And he pulls up next to this hooker, and you're like, well, that's a hooker. And then, of course, Neil Breen is like, hey, do you want to be the next big star of Hollywood? And she's like, well, hell yeah, I do.
Well,
That's
yeah,
a little bit
let's
better
go.
than being a hooker on the strip in Las Vegas. So, there you and the hooker go. You're in the car, going through Las Vegas.
I've just checked through like most of the actors' IMDb's, and hilariously, it seems like the one who's been in the most films and thus had the most successful career is the actor who played the little girl.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
But
that was
it's-
probably child actor.
It's not her fault.
Yeah.
That it's her parents' fault, because I've been there before, where it's like you're 13 years old and your parents are trying to get you an interview with an agent or something like that, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna put you in the next biggest film, and the next biggest film's name is Double Down, and obviously it's a con, the film doesn't make any money.
But this also plays into our theory that he picked up loads of random people, because you wouldn't be able to pick up a random child to do this. No, you'd have to get a child actor for this. But could you pick up random adults off the streets?
remember how many child actors were in this? It was 3 at least.
Yeah,
I would say 3.
That was half the budget.
Yeah. So I mean, but the casting was also
He
done
promised
by
them
Neil
millions.
Breen. You know, the casting was done by Neil Breen. So all I can imagine from this
Oh my
casting
God.
call.
Holy shit, you're right. He literally just went around and
went
picked up
into a
random people.
room.
God.
Casting was done by Neil Breen, so he obviously put out a call in Las Vegas and he said, "We need actors. We need child actors. Come on, your child's going to be the next big star of Hollywood." And the parents, nonetheless wiser, were like, "Yeah."
Do you think people auditioned for this film?
I think the child actors auditioned for this film. I don't think anybody else auditioned.
In that
for
case,
this film.
another question, follow-up question. Do you think they were the first child actors to audition? Like, the first people who walked in, he was like, "You're hired."
I think, more than anything, they were probably the only child actors to audition for this film.
Alright, here's an interesting question, because we're now ranting. We're now ranting about this. Let's move on from the rants. Let's make this something more interesting.
No, I need to finish soon, boys. I'm very tired.
Okay, right. Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up with something simple.
It's going to be a short episode, but you know what? You've missed us.
So here it is. How do you think, if you could rewind the clocks and you could go back, how do you think you could help him make this an actually decent film with his concepts?
I'll let you answer that first, Bradley, because I think my answer is a little bit more
technical.
No,
No?
I think it's a little bit more critical.
As in what areas of this actually technically need improvement?
All right. I will say this: the stock footage, remove it all.
Yeah,
Of course.
But with what he's got, one, he needs better actors, including himself, very much so. But two, I do think with a script rewrite, I mean, let's be honest, this isn't the first one we've seen which stars the best man in the world by any means. Like, with a few script rewrites, just, I don't know, it could have somewhat worked.
Dude, if it was a college film, if it was like some kids
Also
like
remember, this is 2005
I
as
saw
well.
hint, no shade thrown, but I've seen produce better films.
I'm gonna have to censor his name.
Yeah, censor that, please.
But
I've seen
I
a
agree,
guy
I
that
agree.
we used to go to college with produce better Mr. Bean films. Don't censor that part, because nobody will know that. But
He also did a Doctor Who fan
did a
film,
Doctor Who fan film. But
and I could have done better.
so you know, your advice: get better actors.
Get a better script.
So 35mm film, great stylistic choice. You know, no shade thrown there.
Hell, I could have even worked with the desert.
You know, the
like-
desert. Yeah, it's great. He got the permission of the fucking national park of the Mojave Desert or some shit like that. That's no.
Do you think he
small
got that after the fact?
Perhaps. He did say special thanks too, but the Mojave Desert is a very big place, so
Yeah.
Special thanks to the Mojave Desert.
You know, the idea that some national park ranger was patrolling this remote part of the desert and said, "Hey mate, you can't film here."
Special thanks.
I
to
don't
the
think
United
that
States
happened.
of America.
Special thanks to Las Vegas.
But so you know, you think that you'd help him on this you know.
I would have looked over the script for him, yeah.
You know, yeah, of course. I would have said, as a filmmaker, don't make this film. Go home and never, ever put your mind to making another piece of media ever again.
That's where I think you should be wrong.
Well, go ahead, because I guarantee the next few films that we're going to watch made by this guy are going to be no better.
Oh, it's
They're
true.
going to be no more creative. They're not going to be any more
That part's not true.
technically advanced.
However, and hear me out. Remember, when was this produced? He produced this in 2005. So on today's standards, we watch this and we think, oh, generic, really crappy. However, think back, 2005.
Okay.
This might have been somewhat of an original, early on idea.
It's true, but then I would then say, let's compare it to his 2021 or 2018 film, which I can almost guarantee will be of no more better standard.
Alright, look, here's what I'm
than
going to
Double
say.
Down 2005.
Here's what I'm going to say for you, Neil, because we know you're listening.
You know this.
Alright,
Besides the other few listeners that we have in Poland or wherever the fuck it is you're from.
Yes. Alright, Neil. This is part 1 of our Neil Breen retrospective. We are going to visit all your films.
Yeah.
Here's my genuine opinion. Even though this film is bad, and don't get me wrong, Neil, this is a terrible, terrible film. This is an awful movie. But I need you to hear me out, Neil. I do genuinely believe that you have shown passion.
Yeah.
This clearly isn't just a product. No. This is a film made from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of that, I disagree with my co-host Daniel when he says that you shouldn't have made this film. You should have made this film.
No, do you know what the thing is, right?
Should have made it better.
You should have made it better, but you should have made it on the best.
I agree. It is made off of passion, right? There was obviously love of some sort, no matter how twisted and how strange it was put into this film. Yeah, there was some love there.
It should have had TLC, tender love and care.
Yes.
It seemed to have just had tea.
Yeah, it was just tender.
It was so tender.
So
and titties.
I no, I agree. There was obviously love, there was dedication, and there was some time, no matter how short, put into it. No matter how many of your films.
Oh, that's a good question. How many days do you think this was shot?
Well, this is the thing. No matter how many of your shots were shot in the exact same location, most of the dialogue scenes shot behind the same blue background that were obviously the same sky in the same location in the Mojave Desert.
The amount of shots we used.
Yeah.
Not even just a stock footage, just actual light.
So. There was some good intentions put into this film.
Yeah.
However, I would almost, use that as a factor to say, don't ever fucking make another film ever again, because please look at any other film ever produced and then compare it to your own. Your logical brain should be able to make the decision for yourself.
Theory. The only film Neil Breen had seen before he made Double Down was The Room.
Yeah,
that's
and he thought it was the best film.
No, not even that. He was just like, this is how films are supposed to be made.
Yeah. In fact, him and Tommy Wiseau were actually close friends.
Alright, but here's why I do think he's better than Tommy. Because while the Neil is spectacular, I've got to ask you boys, have you ever seen The Neighbours? Have you ever seen Best Fiends?
No.
Those are Tommy Wiseau's other projects. And guess what? They're awful.
Yeah.
Not The Room awful. Actually awful.
They're just awful.
They're not fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because what Tommy did, it's the same thing that James Nguyen did with Birdemic.
Yeah.
He saw what made The Room popular, and he was like, okay, people are laughing at this, not with this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna continue making really bad stuff.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Birdemic, James Nguyen's Birdemic, hilarious.
We should
Genuinely,
watch that.
we will watch that eventually. One of the funniest films ever made. Birdemic 2, fucking painful.
Yeah.
Here's how bad it is and how much James Nguyen copied himself.
Before you say this what you're describing reminds me really strongly of something that Corey showed us. I remember watching it while you were there, and I remember you and me sharing the same reaction. What was it? It was something about sharks.
Sharknado.
No, it was in a house.
Yeah, there's a scene in Sharknado where they end up in the house.
No, it wasn't Sharknado. It was something else.
What
was it?
Oh, it was
Shark in the house.
The shark was in the house.
No,
it was chasing people. It would jump out of the pipes and then eat them. You were there.
Yeah. It came out of the toilet at one point.
Yeah, it came out of the toilet. It was like
shark. Wasn't Sharknado?
Maybe it was just Shark House.
Shark. It was something with shark in the title.
I mean, in my so bad it's good, documentary from college, I literally did a whole bit on Sharknado and then did a whole bit showing how many bad movies have sharks in.
Yeah.
There's loads.
Yeah, quite a lot.
There's a movie called Sharktopus.
Yeah. Yep.
It's because they all tried to copy Jaws.
It's almost on the tip of my tongue. What was it?
I'm sure it was Shark House.
It was Sharkageddon. I don't know.
I know it's not Jurassic Shark.
I remember the one that you're talking about, and I think we were very intoxicated watching it, which is probably...
No, it's called House Shark.
House Shark.
Yeah.
Yes,
It was fucking awful. But it wasn't funny awful. It was like they were purposefully trying to make it, like, bad funny.
Here's how... Yeah, with Birdemic 2. So the first one, unintentionally hilarious. The third one, the second one even, he tries so badly to copy the success from the first one that the first, I want to say, 6 minutes of the film are pretty much a direct shot-for-shot remake of Birdemic 1.
Yeah. I remember the first time I ever heard about Birdemic was from I Hate Everything.
Yeah.
He went downhill a little bit.
I disagree.
over the years, but
He didn't go downhill.
he just stopped making.
Yeah,
things,
exactly.
and
He
turned
moved.
off.
He kind of moved away from YouTube.
Yeah, I found it. It was this.
We'll watch it after.
Where did
You'll
he go
recognise it
anywhere,
from
or
the
did he
actors.
just stop?
Yeah. So the from what I know about I Hate Everything, so he suffered a lot with anxiety and shit, and he had some like stalkers essentially, some people like getting really personal.
Yeah.
But he is still technically active in the sense that he has a podcast with Your Movie Sucks and Ralph the Movie Maker.
Yeah.
Your Movie Sucks, by the way, that's how I found out about Birdemic.
Yeah. I remember Your Movie Sucks. Yeah, I think I Hate Everything. Like he's how I found out about The Room. Like, all of the classic bad movies.
But yeah, they all have a podcast together called Sardonicast, which I do listen to frequently. I do really enjoy it.
It's good. It's good to know that they're doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought that he had just stopped, like, period, and then just never.
No, he releases a video like maybe twice a year now, which is a shame. I wish he'd do more. But
I kind of understand it based on where the YouTube community has gone and where people have gone with YouTube in general. But that's a whole different topic for a whole different time.
Yeah, very much so.
But yeah, so I mean, going back to it, Double Down, Down Double, whatever the fuck you call it.
Double Down
by Neil Breen. Yeah, there was some semblance of passion and love there.
Very much
there was
so.
some, a concept. There was a concept there.
Yeah.
However, if I had been like the first person to see that movie afterwards and said, Neil, this is my genuine take on this, I would say, never make another movie again. Try your hand at something different.
I hate to reference Jack and Jill, the Adam Sandler film, but there's a bit where I think it's Al Pacino has made a donut commercial, and it's really embarrassing. And as soon as it finishes, he looks to Adam Sandler and he's just like, "I want this footage destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone ever sees it, I will find out and I will kill them."
Yeah. So that's what I would say to Neil. If it's 2005, we've just got off the cutting room floor, and he asked for my genuine opinion, I would say, just stop, please. Think about what you're doing, and what it's going to do to the community. Think about what you're going to think of the children. Think about these poor children. Think about these poor porn stars, hookers, whatever.
Yeah.
And think about what it's going to do to them, their families, and everybody else involved. And please never do it again, because this is an atrocity of filmmaking. I'm literally not saying that I could produce anything better, but I also at the same time am saying I could produce something 100% better and I could film it.
What you're definitely not saying is that you could produce something worse.
I don't think I could produce something worse.
Even if you tried.
Even if I tried it,
Yeah, because that's my point. That's what's so beautiful about So Bad It's Good. That's why Birdemic 2 and Tommy Wiseau's Fecal
Because
Project.
they weren't trying.
Because they tried, exactly. They tried to make it bad.
They tried to make something.
They didn't try to make it bad.
That's the thing.
No. Birdemic 2 and Tommy Wiseau's projects after The Room have tried to make it bad. Yeah. But that's what's beautiful about Neil Breen's feature films.
Yeah, I would say that, is that it didn't try to make it bad.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it beautiful.
And I promise you, because you haven't seen his other films yet, I have. At no point does he... it's weird to use the word in this term, but he never sells out. You can really tell that everything he makes does come with passion.
Yeah. No. Fair play to the guy, man. Like, I mean, as much shit as we'd give the film.
I have no hate towards you, Neil.
No,
absolutely.
As much hate as we, give towards any of the other production that he's done, it's like, it's a lot more than most people can say about whatever the fuck.
Yeah, and we had a ton of fun. I had a ton of fun at this. I can't speak for Hector.
Yeah, no.
I was cringing the whole way through, but it was a great journey.
Yeah.
I would say that if I hope that the next ones that he makes, hopefully we see at least some semblance of improvement from prior ones.
You will at least see his testicles in one of them.
Oh, well, that sounds amazing.
We did see a quick shot of his testicles as he's floating next to his apparently dead wife. Well, he might also be dead. We'll never know.
You will never know.
There's the questions, that's... Actually, that is one thing that I will give credit to is that, you know, you come out of most films nowadays, you're like, well, that was what that film was about. Now, when you come out of Double Down, you watch it and you think, well, I have so many questions. I don't know what it was about. I don't really think I want to know what it was about, but at the same time, at least I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
Which is more than I can say for most.
Yeah, which shows that you care.
At least I care.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is an excellent
place to end it. And I agree, because I don't know how long the edit will be, but we've recorded for 56 minutes talking about Double Down.
Which is, almost an hour talking about one...
And I do promise the audience, I can't promise when the next ones will come, but this is part 1 of a 5-part retrospective on the career of Neil Breen.
Yep. And,
thank you for listening to episode 21 of Nevergreen Podcast. We're sorry we've been gone for a while, but we'll try and come back.
We did. I mean, the last one we did wasn't that long.
Well, we also lost an episode.
We did lose an episode, yeah.
But also prior to that was like a huge gap. That was like a 1-year gap.
No.
No. He means
prior to that we've shot.
No, he means before episode 19.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, before I was there.
Which huge gap.
That was like a 1-year gap.
I mean, in the time, and quick plug, in the time since we recorded the last episodes, Bradley, has started a new podcast with a couple of friends. Not to replace this one, completely different subject matter. It's a podcast as a script writer where I do some comedy scripts. Well, you started a new podcast with Tom.
We haven't released any of it because it's actually subject matter that should never be heard by anybody ever. And if anybody does hear it, it will end both of our lives completely.
Well, that's his choice, but
it is. I don't even want to describe how awful this stuff is, man. This is nonsensical. This is from the deepest, darkest parts of our hearts. So you shouldn't check it out. Whatever you do, don't check out the Moose and Camel Midnight Podcast. Whatever you do, Moose and Camel.
Yeah, don't check that out.
Moose and Camel Midnight Podcast. Don't check it out.
But you
Moose
should.
and Camel Midnight Podcast. Don't check it out.
But you should check out.
No,
not yours. But you should check out A Week in Writing. We have got 4 episodes out now. I've already written my script for the 5th. It's a fun, kooky podcast where me and 2 of my friends from uni write short scripts and make each other laugh.
And you should also check out, no, just kidding, I'm not going to place any sponsorship in here, but what you should check out is the end of this episode. So good night everyone and farewell.
And good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to everybody out there.
Bye, Neil.
Josh Phipps, Hector, and Bradley signing off.
Check out A Week in Writing though.
Don't do it!